Hurts takes the snap. He's back. He's going to run. He's in! Touchdown! Jalen Hurts! The Eagles are just devouring the Giants. And it is A.J. Brown again! Another touchdown!
Hello and welcome to the Linc Lineup episode 27. We're going to give this one to Malcolm Jenkins. I feel like it's fitting because what a safety, man. He solidified the safety spot for a while, and he's a great guy, great player. I miss him.
What's a core memory that stands out to you of Malcolm?
Brandon Cooks, the Brandon Cooks hit.
For some reason, the first thing that came to my head when he almost fought Eric Reed at the fucking coin toss
I don't remember that.
against the Panthers.
Yeah,
I
I remember it. I'll have to look it up.
It was basically over the whole social injustice thing, and Eric Reed was calling Malcolm a fraud or whatever, and something like that.
Eric Reed. I was thinking of Justin Reed. I was like,
no, Eric.
But Eric Reed was washed and then he got signed by the Panthers. I remember his story. Yeah. Got it now. Remember it. Yeah, man. I would take Malcolm back. He also played slot quite a bit, so that was nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot
what down played linebacker a couple times too.
He did it all. But we got the Mayo Missile, Reed Blankenship, and question mark, I guess, with Kevin Byard. I mean, he's been solid.
Yeah, he's played better these past two games.
You see the stats though for the Bills game? He was targeted 8 times, a lot of 8 completions.
Oh yeah,
that one. But I
remember for some of them, he was in coverage that I visibly remember. A lot of it was check downs to the tight end, on out routes where there was nobody around him, and he just happened to be the one covering him at that point.
Yeah. So, nobody really knows what the assignment was because we're not, listening to play call and all that. You can only assume. But I think he's been solid. I think he's been solid since the Chiefs game. And, we'll need him Sunday against, George Kittle. I feel like he could be a X factor in this game. And
he played good against Travis Kelce.
He did. He definitely did. I believe he played a big part in us winning that game.
Yeah. Got the pick.
Yeah, but there's a lot to talk about. Got Bryce with me today. I'm assuming he's packing. Haven't heard from him. He might be sleeping. I don't know. So Josh, if you're out there, if you're listening, I'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, and then Bryce showed up. I recorded this last night, by the way, by myself, and then I was
apologies.
You know what?
I'm feeling a little under the weather.
You do, and so we got Bryce today. I said, "Come on, dude, let's do it. I don't want to do this alone." And it's funny because last year we went to 2 games, and I feel like I've said this all before because I have, but went to 2 games last year. In Indy and then the Titans game in Philly. Both times I was sick. It was 2 weeks. I remember in Indy, I think we went drinking that Saturday night, and that next morning, I didn't feel good. I think I broke my arm. It looked like I did. It's funny because on Snapchat, I got the memory of the big bruise on my arm.
Yeah.
It was bad, and that bruise lasted for a month. I'm not gonna lie to you. It looked bad. It was swollen up and everything. But I was sick, and then I missed Thanksgiving. Then I felt better, and then as soon as we got to Philly, I just felt sick again.
And just coughing all night long.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not sick right now, but I have it's cold outside, sniffles, you have to cough, but I feel good. Last year alcohol saved the day. That Sunday, I started drinking at 9:00 in the morning, and it helped me survive. So hope Bryce makes it, because nothing worse than feeling like you got shit every 5 seconds.
Come on, man, you put my business out there.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. You're sick. Shit, it's all right. It's all good.
I'm
But
having a
there's
stomach issue for everybody who's wondering,
yeah,
throwing
we're
up and such.
we're going through it. We're drinking some ginger ale, maybe
Pepto Bismol is taking some Zofran.
whatever it takes to make it. I'm excited for this game, because it is our trip. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the year, and me and Bryce try to go to one home game a year, which we do typically. Um, it's like the one trip a year that I definitely look forward to. When the schedule comes out, we pick our potential games that we want to go to, and in April when that came out, this is the one we circled right away. Which is funny because I do not remember last year how we picked the Titans game at all. I think it was probably the cheapest one that we could have gone to.
I don't know. I'm sitting there thinking of it. I, I'm curious if the AJ trade had any influence on it. That's the only
Maybe,
thing that's coming to my mind.
maybe. Now that I think about it, maybe that was the thing, but I don't know why we circled that game. But this game, we circled it. We yeah, we knew where we were going, and I'm pumped about it. This is going to be as close to a playoff game as you can get. I feel like this is going to have a bigger. I feel like it's going to be like a bigger game than both the Dallas games we play this year. Um, just because, no, it's just because like the 49ers have been talking. The Eagles
Yeah,
kind of been chirping back. I think it'll mean more to the fans.
yeah. It's
Um,
more. I think this is a game more for the fans than it is the players.
I do think some players are taking it personal. Like James Bradbury, he better fucking follow Debo around, and it'd be nice if he could do something against Debo.
We all know James is not a. He's not a talker. He kind of lets his play do the talking and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be something just to see him and Debo get face to face and start chirping each other a little bit? That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be interesting to see if they get in a fight. See who Trent Williams hits from behind. Typical things. Um, yeah. But like, who's the enforcer on the Eagles? You think is it Jalen Carter? Is it
Have you noticed like any little scrum that goes on? Jalen Carter's like one of the first ones to run in there and just start grabbing people
I mean,
because that's what I've noticed throughout a couple games. We kind of got into one against the Chiefs a little bit there, and it was after the Travis Kelsey fumble. Uh, Trey Smith, the guard for the Chiefs, kind of ran up and hit Fletcher Cox in the back. I kind of pushed him. Fletch turned around, grabbed his face mask, and pulled his helmet off of him. And they were kind of face to face with each other. And all I see is Jalen Carter turn around, make a beeline towards Trey Smith, and kind of just grabs him by his shoulder pad and like starts pushing him. And then the Cowboys won with Kevin Byard and Jake Ferguson. Uh, Jalen Carter did the same thing. Just he was kind of had his head on a swivel, just looking for somebody to grab. He just kind of snatched up the closest player.
yeah. And the reason why I asked that is because for for many years it was Jason Peters. It was Jason Peters. The iconic scuffle between him and Trent Williams against the Redskins at the time. Whenever I forgot who did it, but somebody laid Nick Foles out late, very late. Um,
Wasn't
so
Albert Hainsworth, was it?
might have been actually, might have been Albert Haynes was dirty. He was dirty. He was a dirty player. I don't
He
know
was a
what
good player though
for a
for a
little bit,
while.
for a
For a
little
little
bit,
bit.
and then he.
If I'm not mistaken, he played for the Titans at one point too, didn't he?
I think
I
that's where
think.
he. I think that's where he got. He earned the contract he got with the Commanders.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I wonder who that guy's going to be. I feel like AJ could also be like
Kind of enforcer for the
yeah for like
with our going against the secondary.
yeah not the heavyweight battle, but like for the light heavyweight battle, he can for sure do it.
You know, you remember him and Jimmy Ward got into it uh pregame last year when we played them in the NFC Championship game.
I don't actually remember that, but he doesn't play for them anymore, does he? He
No,
plays
he plays for
for
Houston, I think.
yeah yeah
Um,
yeah. I saw that on Twitter where like where our fans were making fun of Eagles fans because like we didn't realize that he was on the team, but like we don't pay attention to you guys like you think we do. But
Um,
you know, I'm just curious to see what happens. I feel like we said that
was
it's for
Fletcher? Do you think Fletcher might have could take that role as kind of like the enforcer?
well, he's hurt, so he's not
Yeah,
going to play. I don't think he's
he's not
playing.
going to do
So,
much.
so he can
I
he
mean,
can
if
do
we're
what he
being
wants.
honest here, if we need the biggest guy to hit somebody,
Jordan Davis.
I'm looking at Jordan Davis.
Uh,
But I kind of think him as kind of like a not a teddy bear, but because his he plays angry on the field. But if you ever look at him outside of the games and the interviews, he's a really nice guy. But it'd be interesting to see if they ever got into a scuffle, what he would do.
yeah.
Because I'd be terrified.
Oh,
I'd shit myself. I see that big bastard coming at me.
I would too. But like you mentioned, and I mentioned, like, yeah, it's probably more intense for the fans, but there is some bad blood left over from last year, and I feel like Hassan summed it up like pretty well. It's like there was a lot of boo-hooing after that game. He's like, now's your chance to come here and prove it.
Wouldn't I can't remember the quote. What he say? Line that shit up.
Yeah,
Line that shit up and prove it.
yeah, something like that. So he's not wrong. And some
No.
49ers fans were like Eagles fans or Eagles players talking shit too. He's not talking shit. He's just telling it how it is. He's like, you guys
Yeah.
cried the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to a lot of podcasts this week, it is the 49ers' fault that Brock Purdy got hurt. Like, what were you thinking?
Did you
That's
hear
not
that from Rube? And
everybody.
I was
Everybody.
listening to Dave and Rube. They were talking about it. They were like, Dave brought up the point. He was like, it's not like Brock Purdy slipped on a brick getting
Yeah,
off the bus and got hurt.
uh,
Kyle Shanahan got him hurt that game.
he did.
Uh, it was the 49ers' fault that he got hurt. It wasn't nobody else's. Haas just made the play that he was supposed to make. If you stick a third string tight end on a guy on one of the best edge rushers in the league, typically bad things happen. And that's what happened. And it's nobody else's fault that the game ended up the way it did.
Yeah, well, Rube made me mad because I was listening to their pod they released either today or yesterday, and he was like, yeah, the 49ers are probably the better team on paper. And he was like, well, at least the Eagles are have a better punter. And I was like, dude, I was like, don't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's trying to be funny. Nah, he pissed me off. But
I don't know. I mean, if you stack them up on paper, besides, I think the I think the 49ers secondary is a little bit weaker than the Eagles, but I don't know. They stack up well against each other on paper.
I think it's
I
a
wouldn't
pretty,
give,
I think it's pretty even
yeah,
across the board. I do think the ultimate factor in this are there's two. It's quarterback and head coach
yeah,
because uh like I forgot who said it, but Nick Sirianni plays to win the game, and I feel like Kyle Shanahan he he's had his blunders in the past.
yeah,
Um, and I think Jalen Hurts is far and away better quarterback than Brock Purdy is. Um,
yeah.
but we'll get into
I
that.
give the nod to the Eagles offensive line. 49ers got a decent one. Can't remember if Mike McGlinchey still plays for the 49ers or not, but
I think so. I
yeah,
think so because I think it was Jimmy Kimsky was talking about it, and like their offensive line is bad. It's like they got Trent Williams and then a bunch of below average guys. Um, so how
the
about
two
this?
defensive lines I think stack up well. I think we have more depth than they do
Yeah.
on our
Um,
defensive line.
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go ahead and let's talk about injuries. Or actually, let's talk about news first. I feel like we should shout this one out because one of my favorite players of all time just got released, Greg Ward. But we signed Ben Van Zumeren
Yep.
to the active roster, and then we signed Josiah
Fix that.
Scott and Cam Sims to the practice squad.
The Ben Van Sumeren one that had to happen. They have no depth at this moment, and he's already been elevated, 4 times? So
Or he's been elevated 3 times. He can't
this
do
would
it the
have to be,
fourth.
yeah. So they had, if they wanted him on the roster and they absolutely needed somebody, they had to sign him to the active roster. So
But
Cam
Greg Ward.
Sims, I think that's an interesting player. He made some plays in Washington that I remember. I remember one play particular. He hit Trayvon Diggs on a double move and uh, mossed the hell out of him for a touchdown one time. Um, he's got good size. He's 6'5", so that's a big receiver. I didn't realize he was that tall. I knew he was taller, but I didn't realize he was that tall.
Yeah. I actually don't know much about him, but I know Greg Ward. Everybody knows Greg Ward. So I want to take this time to go take a trip down memory lane, and I just want to thank him for the year we won the division with Carson. He was the one that had the big catch in the back of the end zone, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He was just a great like receiver, like a great slot receiver. I feel like and great probably isn't the right word, but like he always found a way to get open. He wasn't going to do much after the catch, but he found a way to get open. He's probably a fan favorite. Um, Sad to see him go, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point. I'm sure he will be back. And if not, I'm sure some other team will pick him up as well. And if not, hopefully he gets a chance to shine in the XFL. Because he deserves it. He plays hard, and I love him to death. But now let's move on to injuries because this is big, and we were talking about depth at the D line. Well, good news. Milton Williams is a full participant today, so he cleared concussion protocol. He'll be back.
Big Milt.
DeAndre
Better meet
Swift,
him.
Devontae Smith, and Lane Johnson were all full participants. So Lane being back's awesome, and then, I mean, we kind of knew that Devontae and DeAndre were going to play. Limited practice today was AJ with a thigh, Jordan Davis with a hamstring, and Julio Jones with a knee. Jordan Davis, I expect to play. AJ, I expect to play. Julio, hey, if you can't play, that's okay. And then the people who did not participate, and I feel like none of these players are going to play. Grant Calcaterra with his ankle, Fletcher Cox with a groin injury, Zach Cunningham with a hamstring, which, if you read the news, he's probably going to be out this game and then for a couple more after. Just hope he has a speedy and full recovery because we're going to need him come playoff time. Justin Evans, knee, I have no idea what's going on with him. I don't even know what his injury is. All I know it's a knee. But who knows? And Dallas Goedert did not participate with a forearm because it's fractured. I hope he plays. You see him throwing the football? He was throwing the football with his fractured arm. So like, let him play. Let him play, man. Just let him play. Because we'll need him. We could use him.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
So,
getting
I
Milton
missed
Williams back and what do you say?
I missed what you said. Is he still? So he's Dallas is still questionable,
He
or
is,
is
but he did not participate today. So
oh,
they haven't ruled him out. The doctors want him to have 4 weeks, and this is the 4th week. So he's pushing to play. He wants to play, but ultimately the doctor says, "Hey, you might break your arm again if you get hit in like the right spot, and it'll crumble like a I don't know. I don't know what crumbles, but if it does that, not good. That wouldn't be good.
yeah.
Selfishly, I want him to play, but like I said, getting Big Milt back is nice because he makes plays. He is very underrated, probably really underappreciated by this fan base. And he's going to get his flowers. I predict a huge game coming from him. Because he feels like he has something to prove because he was stashed behind the guy on the other side, Javon Hargrave. So like,
Mhm.
It'd be nice to have them back. So we'll see what happens. I got a question for you about our trip actually. Um, at what point during the day, and like this is, it's fun to talk about. at what point in the day or the trip does it hit you and you get like super pumped, super amped? Is it the day before? Is it when you wake up that morning? Is it whenever you hear the warm up music, like coming from the stadium when you're walking up to it? Is it whenever you actually walk into the stadium, the Pepsi Plaza? When is it?
For me, I don't know. I I usually try to live in the moment of it. So for me, it's kind of last year when we were there, it really hit me when we were standing there for warm ups. Like when we got to our seats and we're sitting there watching them warm up, and that's when the juices started flowing. Shout out Big Milt, waved at me.
Shout out him.
And
we're trying to go for 2 for 2.
Yeah. But it's probably around then when we was in the walking around the plaza. That was pretty cool too. Seeing all the Eagles fans listen to the music, and seeing Elliott, Shore Parks, that fraud. Uh, but they were recording their pregame little podcast there in front of the stadium. But I don't know, that's pretty cool. It's usually around then. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I want to say like we obviously we live in different areas of the country, so like we don't get to go to every game. Like some of you may have the opportunity, and so like it's different for us. But we all share the same emotion of like let's go. Like whenever
Yeah.
game time happens, like we're all in it together. For me personally, it's whenever I start getting a little bit of like electricity, like whenever I'm there, just knowing like, hey, like the stadium that like I grew up wanting to go to and never got the chance to until I was like what 20, at 23, 22. But like it's like that. It's like, hey, it's almost there. But game day morning, whenever I wake up, I brush my teeth, put my jersey on, and usually if it's a walk or the drive, that's whenever it happens. And then like you're watching that Uber map and you're like, how much longer do we have to go? And it starts creeping up on you. You finally see like the stadium and stuff. There's nothing like it. It's it's a beautiful sight. And then this year we got the Green Legion tailgate ticket, so we got that going for us this year, which we didn't have last year. Uh, the only downside about going to games is the concession prices. So thank God for what we're doing this year because me and Galen spent like $350 on alcohol and food last year at the game. Not trying to do that again. Just a flat rate of $80 and all you can eat, all you can drink. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to soak it up all we can and feel good going to the game. Real good. So like it's like that drive up there. And then when you walk into like the stadium, you see the field and stuff. It's like we made it. And I've been to 3 games this year, or this is my 3rd game. You've been to the Tampa game with me. The away games, like they're cool. They're cool, but there's just something different about going like to your home stadium. And it's funny though because like every game I've been to this year, the Tampa, the Washington game, it was like a home game essentially, but like it's not Philly.
Yeah.
There's something about like whenever you hear it's 3rd down, and you're like, and then like everybody's screaming, and it's like, oh yeah, we're all in it together. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and
It's dope.
yeah, I'm excited. I wish it was a little colder, to be honest. I wish it was snowing. I wish the snowball game that happened with the Lions. I wish that happened this game, but Caitlin would have been pissed. Caitlin would have been mad. But I'm excited. But yeah, so I guess we should talk about the game a little bit and how we're feeling. So we kind of hinted toward it earlier how we feel. Obviously, no matter where you listen to, if you're an Eagles fan, you probably want to say the Eagles are a better team. If you are a 49ers fan, you probably want to say the 49ers are a better team. But here's how I see it. If you want to go position by position, quarterback,
Yeah.
I think the Eagles have the edge. I think it's pretty simple. I think Jalen Hurts is the best. He's either top 2 or he's number 1.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks in the NFL. Brock Purdy's not even. I don't think I put him in my top 10. To be honest with you, I feel like he's solid, but I don't think he's in my top 10. Running back, obviously Christian McCaffrey's probably the best running back in the game. But Dennis Swift is up there too. I think whenever he's on, he's on. But edge San Francisco. I think wide receiver wise, I think the Eagles have them beat. And I don't think it's as close as some people will argue.
I
But
think Brandon Ayuk's a good receiver.
I think he is, but I think Debo is overrated.
Yeah.
And I feel like the jokes about him being a running back or a receiver is true because he's not even he hasn't been great this year.
Have you seen his stats this year?
Yeah, I have. They're not
good.
They're not good.
Somebody was comparing him and Devontae Smith, and somebody on Twitter said Debo's projections for the end of the year this year aren't even what Devontae Smith has right now.
Oh,
that's not good.
not. So then they have Jawan Johnson after that.
Yeah, Juwan.
He's cool.
Brandon Ayuk. Who else? I'm forgetting somebody.
Probably so. We're probably forgetting somebody. Probably Michael Crabtree somewhere down there.
I think Brandon Ayuk is probably the only one that I can tolerate at all. Then I mean, I like Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a good receiver.
He came from where?
Arizona State.
Gotcha.
ASU, I believe. Yeah. But really good route runner. It's probably controversial to say, but if you put him and Smitty 1-on-1, versus each other, right now I'd probably give the nod to Brandon Ayuk. But that's not because I think Brandon Ayuk is the number one, respectfully, for the 49ers. AJ is our number one, but we have a 1A and 1B. You kind of know, but Brandon Ayuk does a lot for that team. He's been kind of going crazy this year a little bit. He's kind of went under the radar.
Yeah. So I give the edge to the Eagles. I think it's not close. Just because I think AJ is elite. I think Devontae's elite. And I think Debo's overrated. I think the perception that he get, the public perception of him is just it's crazy. It's crazy. It should not be where it is. Tight end wise, if Dallas doesn't play, 49ers by $1 billion. When it comes to tight end.
Yeah.
Dallas does play. I still think George Kittle is a little bit better than Dallas because I feel like Dallas has all the tools in the world to be the best tight end in the NFL, but something's just not there. Something's just not clicking. But you see it all the time. You see the potential. You see all of it, and it's just not there.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure what it is because I think Dallas is a better receiver than George Kittle. To me, George Kittle's a better blocker than Dallas, but overall, with blocking and receiving, I would give it to Dallas. I'd give the nod to him, just because I think his receiving ability. This is me saying his ability. This is not me saying of what he is doing, but what he can do. To me, Dallas is the better receiver, but George Kittle is an excellent blocker, a really, really good blocker. To me, George Kittle is he's still in the top 3 for tight ends, probably in the league. Kelsey's 1 to me. George Kittle's probably 2. But it's interesting. to me because, like, if you get both of their potential, I mean, if you get their very best, I think they're more. I think it's closer than what people kind of think it is. I don't know.
Yeah. But like I said, if Dallas isn't playing, Jacksonville versus George Kittle is bad. It's bad. George Kittle does have one of the we won't see him. He has the ugliest helmet in the world though. Offensive line, I think the Eagles have by far and away better offensive line than the 49ers. 49ers, all they have is Trent Williams. And so that leads to another point I saw this week is like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen were pressured quite a bit by this team, right? They just didn't get the sacks. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are fantastic at avoiding a sack. Brock Purdy is not. It's like the sack percentage, like pressure to sack percentage for Brock Purdy between him and then the other two are like just like doubled. So like the sacks will come. The sacks will come. Absolutely 100% they'll come. So to me, this game's on the secondary to just allow enough time for the pass rush to get there, especially if they don't get off and win right away, which I do expect them to win right away. Some battles, right? But for the whole game, it's on them to just not fold in coverage. But we won't go that far yet. Eagles offensive line far and away better. Lane Johnson's back. Need him back. Need him healthy. It's not even close. So now, talk about D-line. D-line is fun to talk about because you got
these are the two best defensive lines of football.
Right. Starting for the 49ers is Chase Young, Bosa, Hargrave, and
Reek Armstead.
Yeah, but I think he's hurt. He didn't participate in practice yesterday. And maybe today. I have to look that up as we're talking. So like that's a tough lineup right there. That's good. But on the flip side, you have Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, throw Milton there. Pretty good. And then Tui's giving you productive snaps.
Yeah.
So like
if Nolan Smith could produce a little bit more.
He's getting there. I've seen him like when I watch him, he's improving every week. And I feel like he could have a chance to get a sack. I feel like he's gonna go against Trent Williams a lot this game. But
that's not good.
That's not good. But if he can win against Trent Williams, that confidence is gonna go through the roof. Because he's already confident enough as it is. You've seen him in the way he walks and he talks and all that. So if he could get one against Trent Williams, future Hall of Famer, it would be a start of something great.
You got Brandon Graham too.
BG's giving you solid snaps. I wish Nolan Smith would produce enough to where Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick didn't have to play as much. Because they're playing a lot of snaps. A lot of snaps.
Did you see the snap count from last game?
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think what was like out of 91 or so snaps, they played like 60 something or 70 something.
Oh, it was more than that. I think they
hit 80.
I think Ugh. if you count special teams, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter both played low 80 snaps, I think.
That's a game right there. That's 2 games worth of snaps.
Yeah.
That's 2 games.
That's not good.
I do think practice probably went really light this week. I think Nick was like, hey, we played a lot of snaps on defense. We're gonna rest.
Take a seat. We're gonna sit in the film room a lot this week.
And that's why people are saying like it's a lot of snaps. I'll be tired. I do think that they acknowledge like, hey, you play a lot of snaps. Let's rest up a little bit. So I do think that happened. But I'm giving the edge to the Eagles D line. Linebackers, I think we already know where we're going with this one.
We're shot.
Eagles have Nicholas Morrow, Christian Ellis. And then
49ers have Dre Greenlaw. I'm pretty sure Dre Greenlaw's still there. Yeah. And Fred Warner, who's
yep,
probably the best linebacker in football.
yep. So you can chalk that up as an L for the Eagles.
Do with that what you want.
And hey, spoiler alert: Shaq Leonard signed with us yesterday. He wouldn't have made a difference. No.
We're still not any better.
It wouldn't have moved the needle the way some people think it would. It would. It wouldn't. And then secondary, it's tough. It's tough because like whenever our secondary is playing the way they should, like they're pretty solid. Or they're not playing the way they should. It's
bad. It's rough.
It's bad. James Bradbury just can't afford to have a bad game here. James Bradbury cannot afford to have a bad game. I think
he's played good the last two games for
sure.
Yeah,
because we were talking about he was cooked earlier in the season. We thought he was done. But he's kind of like calmed down. It seems like doing his thing, and so
I don't think he's a zone corner.
I think he's a zone corner. I don't think he's a man corner. I think he's better off his own.
I think he's a man corner when it comes to when he's able to press somebody. I think it works out a lot better in his favor just because of his length.
But if he gets beat though,
that's what I'm saying. If he gives somebody a running start, that's not good. If you let him play a man to where you give him a little bit of safety help over the top and you let him press, he's a lot better player. He's APJB. I mean, he's an all pro when it comes to that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do here.
Yeah,
because I think they can play man against this team. I don't think this. To me, it doesn't. This 49ers offense doesn't really like terrify me that much.
I think the only thing
that scares the shit out of me is stopping Christian McCaffrey.
I don't think so. I feel like he'll get his plays, but I feel like we'll do a good job of stopping him for the majority of the time.
He's got 16 touchdowns this year.
He does, but he couldn't score one break a record. So, who could break records? AJ Brown, but that's neither here nor there. What was I going to say? The one thing that scares me really is Kyle Shanahan scheming up like plays that it seems like somebody's always open. So Sean Desai, better lock in, baby. Better lock in. But who does the 49ers have on at secondary? I know they got Ward. They had Hufanga. He's out though. Yeah, he's done. Who's on the opposite side?
Sharkandrick West. Is that his name?
Ward. It's Ward. Right?
Thank.
Time to whip out the handy dandy phone.
Give me a second. I can tell you. So they got Diamador Lenore. Is Isaiah Oliver playing? Ambry Thomas, he's played a little bit. Charvarius Ward.
It's Deshaun Gibson.
Yeah.
That guy's old.
Yeah.
How old is he? I remember using him on my ultimate team. He's 33 years old. Yeah. All right.
Well, their safeties are kind of cooked. Yeah. They don't have any depth on safeties. Jair Brown's a rookie. He's actually pretty solid from Penn State. He's going to play a lot.
So yeah. This is I think I'm gonna give the edge to the Eagles one, by the way, and then kicker, punter, returner. I'm giving the Eagles. So like the Eagles, I feel like have the edge in a lot of different spots, right? So going into the game, I feel pretty good about the matchup, right? I feel like the only thing that could beat the Eagles are the Eagles. But before we make our predictions, before we kind of go into like how we're actually feeling, what to expect, did you know that the Eagles just signed Zach Ertz?
What?
just kidding. How would you feel about that though?
It's depth.
Would you be excited?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. I wouldn't care, to be honest. Like I know everybody's like bring him home and stuff, but like I don't care.
For that aspect, yeah, it'd be cool. But
I think it'd be cool to
what can you
have
get
like
out of him?
yeah, exactly. But I feel like it'd be cool to have like another like Eagle like retire as an Eagle. Like you got Fletch, BG, who I pray if he plays another year, like because he wants to play another year, he wants to get 15. Hope we get him. We bring him back. Have his farewell tour. Jason Kelsey's going to retire as an Eagle. Lane Johnson should retire as an Eagle. It'd be nice to have like those guys retire as an Eagle. And then speaking of retiring as an Eagle, Deshaun Jackson's going to be honored at halftime, or maybe not halftime, maybe before the game. Can't remember, but he's going to be honored this game. It's cool. I never got to see Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, I never got to see Deshaun Jackson play in person, but it'd be nice to kind of see him.
Yeah, it's it's part of why I became an Eagles fan. I grew up kind of watching Mike Vick. I was a big Mike Vick guy. That whole miracle at the Meadowlands was it was really something. Mike Vick kind of leading the drive, leading the comeback, and Deshaun Jackson sending it home. And him cooking LaRon Landry on the Monday Night Massacre first play was something.
Good game. That was a great game, actually. Dang, does DK already have 73 yards?
Yeah, he just had a 73-yard touchdown.
Oh. Somebody asked me in my group chat, or one of my group chats I'm in, should he start Puka, Cooper Kupp, or DK? I said Puka, so sorry about it, bud. But yeah, so those are like the two, I guess, like news rumor type deals that are going around. Do you think we get Shaq Leonard? And if we do, how do you feel about it?
I think we do. I just think his relationship alone with Sirianni means a lot for that signing. I'd be kind of surprised if we didn't sign him because I just think he fits the culture here pretty well. But I mean, it's ultimately not really our decision. It's kind of his. He's got multiple offers on the table, so whatever he feels is good for him and his family and financially and everything else, and wants to be a contender. He knows where to come. So,
would you be upset if he signed with Dallas?
No, not really. Because to me, he doesn't move the needle that much. There's a reason he got cut. I mean, let's be real here. So, whether he's cooked, chalked, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see some on the field play first.
You will. Yeah. So I hope we get him just for depth. It'd just be nice to not have like Christian Ellis take some snaps if somebody else went down, especially when Cunningham comes back.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. What's your feeling going into this game? All right, let's close our eyes real quick. It is 3:00 Sunday, an hour before the game. We're walking to the stadium. You walk in. How are you feeling?
At that point right there, I'm nervous as shit.
Right. Other than just almost blackout drunk, how are you feeling?
Little nervous. But ultimately, I think we win this game. To me, I don't. There's just a lot of going on. There's just a lot of talking to me that we're fraudulent. I mean, it's like a fraudulent 10-1. There's a reason we're 10-1 to me. I don't.
I think we win. I think if
it's tough to tell.
So, like, obviously, players are going to say, and you're going to get Jalen Hurts, giving his robotic answers that we don't listen to outside noise, but like they do, they absolutely do. If like ESPN's Football Power Index, whatever thing's called, has a seventh, has a seventh with the 4-7 or 4-6 Chargers right behind us. Seventh. If there wasn't so much noise about the Eagles are fraudulent, they're not as good as you think, they're getting away, they're lucky, you got to rest, this and that. I feel like the Eagles could come in this game flat, but I feel like that they have something to prove. And I feel like that this game could get ugly fast for the 49ers. I feel like they're going to play.
That's kind of the feeling that I have.
I feel like they might play with too much emotion and it might get in the way. Obviously, there is emotion involved on both sides, but I feel like as soon as something goes wrong for the 49ers, they could spiral out of control. Yeah. I don't see Brock Purdy leading them from behind. Kyle Shanahan has a proven track record of not being able to pull his team from behind. So I think if the Eagles can just get up, punch them in the mouth early, and just stay.
If the offense is clicking in the first half, this game could get over. It could be done quickly.
Glad you brought that up. If Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson are meeting in a room every week and they're coming up with a 10-play script to start the game, I want them this week to not do that. Just let Brian Johnson just call plays. Because if Brian Johnson, if that's the reason why we start off slow, and it's just Brian Johnson figuring it out just from the field of the game, Brian Johnson is the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. He's either the best offensive coordinator in the world or he's the worst. And we're going to find that out in these next couple of weeks. Because if that is him calling plays in the second half, oh my God, he's so good. He is so good. And we should be good. We have all these good players. It should be easy. Am I crazy for thinking it shouldn't be this hard?
No, it's not. It's like you're saying, because they have. I mean, that's kind of the way the NFL works. I've heard it said in interviews, they go by a script. I mean, not the NFL scripted, but they literally have an offensive script they have so many red zone plays. They have so many second and long. They have plays for each situation, if that, you know what I mean? So it's like you're saying, Brian Johnson's the worst first half coordinator in the NFL. It's so
it
might
not be him. It might not just be him. It might be Nick Sirianni too. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's awful. First half is awful, but in the second half, when they're trailing, I don't know what it is. If they just like to trail in games, because it seems like, I mean, they're incredible when they're losing games. When they're down, this is the best. It's the best team in the NFL. It's not close when they're behind and they have a deficit in a game. If we could just play the first half like we play the second, we would blow teams out. It wouldn't even be close. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to make here. Is at some point this team's going to play all 4 quarters like they do in the second half. And that's going to be this game. I feel like it's going to be this game. I feel like, remember last year when we struggled to beat the Colts and we're like, oh man. And then the Packers game was a little shaky. And then we came out and punched the Titans in the mouth. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what is going to happen. I think this is what's going to happen. Now, let me say this. 49ers are a better team than the Titans were. But you're going to the Linc. The crowd's going to be crazy. It's going to feel like a playoff game. The 49ers have just put, I feel like, too much emotional investment into this game. So they're gonna have mental mistakes. They're gonna, have penalties. They're probably gonna get I'm gonna throw a punch. Somebody's gonna throw a punch. I feel like. I just see that the Eagles are going to be that calm, cool, confident team, and I think that this is the week that they take off. And I could see it being a 2-score game. I can't. And then this will just stamp, everybody can stop questioning the Eagles. They can stop questioning Jalen Hurts. They can stop questioning Brian Johnson. We can be like, hey, Brian Johnson, my boy, I love you. We don't want you to take another coaching job. We want you to stay. So that's my prediction. So Bryce, give me Give me a final score.
I remember what I told you last night. Oh, I remember. 34-28 Birds.
So, like I said last night when I recorded this by myself, I said 34-17. Part of it is a joke because every time the 49ers have lost this year, they scored 17 points. So I'm predicting a loss, and the analytics tell me that they'll score 17 points in this loss. So 34-17. I think that this game is close in the beginning, but the second half Eagles take off. But they don't play bad in the first half. That's my feeling. And you, me, Josh will be on this pod next week, and we'll be talking about how awesome the game was, what a time we had, and how many times we sang "Flag Was Fly." And I'm excited. I leave in 4 hours.
I leave in a day.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm ready. And I hope you guys are too. With that being said, thank you for listening, watching, whatever you do. If you are watching on YouTube, we stepped it up a little bit this past week. I'm not gonna lie to you, we did. I was shocked whenever I saw that we had like five views. Yeah, we went from 1 for the past 20 episodes to 5. So thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. You're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. If there is a rating system on that platform, please give us a 5-star rating so other people can find us. And if they allow you to leave a review, say something nice or don't. Tell us we suck and tell us why we suck so we can fix it. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting. You guys have been doing awesome on the streaming. I don't know why. I don't know how, but thank you. But this is the Linc Lineup. Follow us on all socials at the Linc Lineup. Follow Bryce at I'm Bryce Haynes. Follow me at Cardiac Chase. And until next time, as always, go Birds.
Go Birds.